Hello and welcome to my presentation on the Klamath River Dam Removal Project. I'd first like to start with an introduction to the dam removal project itself. Afterwards, we'll move on to the problems the river has faced, how it can benefit from the dam removal, and some possible issues the project may run into. Finally, we'll re-summarize some of the information presented. The Klamath Basin is the area between Oregon and California drained by the Klamath River, and it's more than 31,000 square kilometers. The huge river system spans roughly 420 kilometers and houses multiple lentic bodies of water throughout, such as the dam reservoirs and the Upper Klamath Lake. The river flows into the Pacific Ocean. This dam removal project is significant because not only would it be the largest in U.S. history, it would also take place in a biodiversity hotspot. According to a 2020 study by John E. Roth, the Klamath region is extremely diverse in organisms such as amphibians, fish, as well as certain fly and midge species. All of these mentioned could play a significant role in the food web system or the benthos of the Klamath River. Here we have a map of the Klamath Dam system. The Copco 2 dam is already completely removed, and according to the Oregon Public Broadcast, the removal of the next three dams will begin in June 2024. Besides the many obvious potential problems with completely manipulating a large portion of a major river system, there are some main dam-caused issues the removal project is focused on. Starting with cyanobacteria blooms, we'll look at a 2015 study by Timothy Oden. This study provides a huge amount of first-hand data on the spread of cyanobacteria toxins throughout the dam reservoirs and lower river system. The data found toxins were concentrated in the reservoirs and most likely were leaching into the lower river system. Despite this, the amounts found in the lower river system still regularly exceeded the World Health Organization guidelines. The method used for collecting the toxin samples is included on this slide, as it seems similar to the methods used and learned in our sampling classes this semester. The native salmon population of the Klamath have had two major battles since the dams have been in place. The first being a lack of habitat, as the dams have cut them off from a large portion of the river. The second issue is a parasite which specifically attacks species of salmon and will be referred to as the Shasta parasite. A study I found on Science Direct by Vanessa Schikow goes into great detail on this parasite, and even produced an infection rate prediction model, which relies on water temperature and flow rate data. However, once the dams are removed, lots of variables are likely to change, which might make these infection rate models more difficult to use. This map shows the area Schikow did her parasite study in, as well as the current salmon habitat, which ends at the Iron Gate Dam. Removal of the Klamath dams is likely to benefit local salmon and increase ecosystem diversity by making a larger portion of the river available to migrating fish. Removal of artificial reservoirs will likely reduce cyanobacteria blooms and increase overall water quality if done correctly. We already talked about the infection rate model produced by Schikow, but there's one particular part where she makes a prediction that dam release could reduce parasite prevalence by 35%. Additionally, a report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration states that there's nearly 200 potential salmon-related projects on the river, and the Klamath was the West Coast's third largest salmon-producing river at one point. With this in mind, maybe there's potential for the salmon to return to their former glory. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, Oaten's study suggested that the reservoirs are the root cause of most of the cyanobacteria toxins in the river. This was based on concentration and proximity data. The benefit in this regard is pretty straightforward. By reducing the amount of artificial reservoirs, we can make the river less toxic by giving the cyanobacteria less places to produce in. We now know that the dam removal can potentially benefit the river through the salmon population and cyanobacteria levels. But it can also improve the temperature and dissolved oxygen, according to the California Water Science Center. The water will be colder, with more oxygen and less cyanobacteria without the dams. This water quality improvement will help other organisms throughout the river. Next, I'll be covering the possible issues this project could run into, such as negatively impacting biodiversity and sedimentation issues. I thought this outtake from the 2003 report by Stanley and Doyle is extremely significant to this project, despite its age, because this project does seem like it could have too much focus on the salmon population. This could be fixed, however, by taking some notes from Hansen's 2023 article on modeling fish communities post-dam removal. He found that a size spectrum food web model can be implemented for a better idea of interspecies relationships such as predation. The California Water Science Center states that sedimentation is a common concern, and as such, the project is well planned to deal with it. However, there are many possible issues which could arise if they don't properly remove the built-up sediments from the dams. The sediment could cause aggradation and even possibly flooding downstream if the riverbed rises too much. The sediment could also become suspended if flow rate is high enough, which would lower water quality and potentially damage fish gills. Geomorphological changes will be extremely difficult to predict as the river tries to reach equilibrium. If flow rates are too high, the river could potentially straighten out and need help meandering once again. In summary, the Klamath River Dam Removal Project is the largest dam removal in U.S. history, and it's in a highly biodiverse area. There's a large amount of past and active studies on the river, and models are being produced that can help deal with possible future issues. I like that native knowledge is being utilized and appreciated to help accurately restore the river, and the scheduling on the dam removal isn't so fast that observations can't be made. However, because this field is so new, there's many unpredictable aspects such as interspecies relationships and geomorphology post-dam removal. This project will surely be a good source of data in the future during other similar projects. Here I've just briefly listed what I think the main concerns for the dam removal project will be going into the future, just taking into account the things that I've learned from the research I've done.